Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Swansea Tiger Sports Network, an independent organization and is not an official production of Swansea High School or Lexington County District 4.
Welcome to this episode of the Tiger's Den, a weekly conversation with head football coach Fox. Now, here's your host, Brady Henderson.
Hey everybody, this is Brady Henderson from the Swansea Tiger Sports Network, and I'm super excited to be here today with Coach Fox. It is our first Tiger Den Coaches Show of the year. This is a podcast that we plan on doing every single Wednesday. At least you'll get it probably Thursday night or Friday morning, but we're doing it on Wednesday, and so thankful for Coach Fox. One thing people don't know about him is not only is he the head football coach, assistant basketball coach, and everything in between, he is also a teacher, and so he's got several classes that he teaches. Coach Fox, so glad to have you on. We started this last year, and so thankful you're willing to do it again this year.
Yes, sir, man. This is an awesome thing that we do here, and we appreciate all you do, Brady, and just been looking forward to this for a while. So
appreciate it, man. And we didn't do one last week, of course, with the game getting moved up. It was going to be too much stress production-wise. Pretty neat, Coach Fox. Swansea Tiger Sports Network started over a year ago. Last year we were recording games for them to be broadcast later, and now not only are your games broadcasted live across the Midlands, they actually have a camera with it, and so it's actually more of a TV broadcast feel. Don't know if you knew this, 3,429 people have watched the broadcast from Friday night. Cool. So I think we had some Keenan fans sprinkled in there that found the link, but mostly your Swansea faithful were able to watch. And so today we're going to catch up a little bit on the summer. We weren't able to do that this past week because we didn't have the podcast, but we're going to try to release this every either Thursday or Friday on YouTube. We're going to stay away from posting it on Facebook. We don't want Facebook to get us with some of our commercials and stuff. So if you want to access this, you got to go to the Swansea Tiger Sports Network YouTube channel or our website. Everything we put out, including our broadcast notes that I put together. Thankfully, Coach, I start putting these together a month before the season starts. Right. And then as the season goes along, I can add stuff in. Before we get started into your football team, middle school, are they still going to scrimmage tonight, being Wednesday?
That's the plan. Yes, sir. They're going to host out here on the practice field with all the rain that we're kind of expecting over the next few days. We wanted to make sure we got a chance to get the field painted as many days as possible. So they're going to practice. They're going to do their scrimmage tonight on the practice field.
And so the JV goes to Aiken tomorrow. Is that still the plan?
That's still the plan.
Okay. You going to travel with them?
Yeah. After practice, I'll drive over.
Okay. All right. And so mentioning rain, it is supposed to rain Friday night, but I don't see anything about thunderstorms. Is the plan still to try to play football?
Our plan is to play Friday night. Yes.
Good. Good deal. All right, Coach. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the summer before we get into Aiken and talk a little bit about Keenan last week, but not too much. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. This week's episode of the Tiger Den podcast is brought to you by DNC Trucking. They are our main sponsor for this week. And so you'll want to tune in, fans, at 6:50 Friday night, 6:50 p.m. for the DNC Trucking pregame show, as Matt and I will be previewing the Hornets, looking back to last week, and excited for this coming ball game. All right, we'll be right back on the Swansea Tiger Sports Network Tiger Den Coaches Show. In Swansea, South Carolina, hard work isn't just a value, it's a way of life. At DNC Trucking and Transport, we're more than just a trucking company, we're family. Named after our two boys, Dalen and Cooper, every load we haul carries our name, our pride, and our promise. Whether it's local or long haul, we deliver on time, every time, with integrity you can trust and service you can count on. DNC Trucking and Transport, driven by family, powered by commitment. Call Dennis Wilson today and let us move what matters most to you. And we're back on the Tiger Den Coaches Show. And Coach Fox, super excited to talk about your team, but let's talk about the summer. You have something that you call Iron Tigers. And so talk to me a little bit about that. I know what it is, but I know our fans might not know. You had 80% participation for those attendance-wise. You had a really good summer. Just talk to me a little bit about your Iron Tigers and how your summer went.
I don't remember the number right off the top of my head right now, but we had most of our team made enough workouts. We had 29 workouts in the summer all told, and you had to make at least 23 of them be an Iron Tiger, and about 80% of our team met that. We also had about 14 guys have perfect attendance.
Wow.
And with the summer, you can't make it mandatory. But the summer's so important now because once you get to the season, it's really hard to practice because you've got all the heat regulations and everything else. So summer is really, really important in high school football now, and our kids do a really good job of being here, and we're just trying to find a way to reward them. So we took our Iron Tigers to Coach Coleman's house last summer workout, and had a little cookout and did a little pool party, and I think we might have broke a couple HOA rules at his house, but it was fun, man. They had a blast.
Well, they're such a great group of kids, Coach. And, one thing I notice about them that is so great is that, they love each other. And I saw that when they came to church for our football, faith, and food. And they're just a bunch of great kids. And, Coach, how did you get better this summer? I know we've talked about it. Physicality was a big thing. But how specifically do you feel like your football team got better?
Obviously we lift. And I think we had a good summer in the weight room. Our kids are bigger, faster, and stronger, and that's something that we've been working on since we got here, is just to find a way to get bigger, faster, and stronger. And that's obvious, but at the same time, you get so many reps. We practice every day in the summer too. So as soon as we're done lifting and doing our conditioning, we do some sort of football every day, and all those reps add up.
Yeah,
and then we. Obviously, in the next deal there, we do some 7-on-7s in the summer, and we're actually allowed to do some 11-on-11s. And you don't have pads on, but for teams like us that are a little bit more run heavy, those 11-on-11s can tell you a lot too. You're not in pads and you're not taking each other to the ground, but it's a chance to run your stuff against somebody else.
Well, tell me about those 7-on-7s. You make an interesting point since you're a run-heavy team. How does that work for you, and how successful were they?
The 7-on-7 part of it, actually, it helps us too because, obviously we're always trying to get better at throwing the football, throwing and catching the football. And I think we're throwing and catching the ball about as good as we have since I've been here. And then it helps you on defense. You get all those reps on defense against teams that throw the ball, and, you get a chance to get better in coverage.
Well, this past Friday, I know we're not there yet, but this past Friday you did have 62 passing yards.
Right.
Of course, your starting quarterback went out and did not play out of the first half. Obviously, we expect him back this week, and so everything going okay with Therese.
Yeah, Therese is good. He's ready to go this week. And, going back to last week, we had 62 passing yards, but I remember there's another pass we caught out of bounds. Mm-hmm. And if he catches that, we're going to gain about 20 on that one. And there's another drop going into the end zone that was going to be about another 30-yard play.
Yeah.
My goal every week is to try to throw if we can throw for 100 yards to offset our running game a little bit, that's good. We're usually having a really good night. And with those two plays, we're going to have 100 yards.
That's right. And Zyshawn, I do want to talk about that for a moment. Of course, now that our broadcast is out there, a lot of people can either know what plays we're talking about or they can go back and watch them. Zyshawn Jamison, you've got 4 minutes and 52 seconds left in the ball game. He's wide open. Not wide open, but he catches or almost caught a pass, dropped the ball, and then 2 minutes later catches one in double coverage to make up for it. And so we were actually talking in the booth about that next play. And he definitely lived up to that and did that extraordinarily well. And so big shout out to Zyshawn on that. We're going to take another commercial break, Coach. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Tigers Den Coaches Show, presented to you by DNC Trucking, getting you ready for game day, week 2, Tigers Hornets. We'll be right back. In Swansea, South Carolina, hard work isn't just a value, it's a way of life. At DNC Trucking and Transport, we're more than just a trucking company, we're family. Named after our 2 boys, Dalen and Cooper, every load we haul carries our name, our pride, and our promise. Whether it's local or long haul, we deliver on time, every time, with integrity you can trust and service you can count on. DNC Trucking and Transport, driven by family, powered by commitment. Call Dennis Wilson today and let us move what matters most to you. And we're back with Coach Fox on the Tiger Den Coaches Show, and just so thankful to be here today. It's raining a little bit at the field house as we're here, and Coach, I've been having revival this week at First Baptist Gaston, so I'm kind of glad to get out of the office for a little bit and spend some time with you. I do want to talk about Keenan. Now that we have the broadcast, I can go back and watch film and make notes as a play-by-play guy. But I'm a coach at heart. I've never coached football, but as you know, I coach baseball, and so was able to see some different things. Your thoughts on watching the offensive film? They don't want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear what you have to say. 424 total yards for your offense, 362 rushing yards, 62 passing yards. Just even if you lose, you only lost by 2. Second closest game in your tenure here as head coach. The first was last year, 28-27 win against Pillion. Anytime you run for 362 yards, something was working.
Right. I think we ran the ball really well. I think our offensive line played really well. We played with a ton of physicality. That's something we pride ourselves on here. Coach Deaver does a great job with our offensive line, and our backs ran hard. We try to spread the ball out to multiple backs. DeAndre obviously had a great night. He had a career high in rushing yards. He had 152 yards. Trace ran the ball well. We got Hartwell a few carries, and Hartwell's dynamic with the ball in his hands. And, Trace came in and played every position for us. He's our Swiss Army knife. And Therese ran the ball well before he got hurt. And we ran the ball well. And then those two plays in the passing game. If we make those 2 plays, we probably end up with 100 yards passing, and we're talking about almost a 500-yard passing, a 500-yard offensive night. And we lost the game, but there's we also have 2 touchdowns called back.
Yep.
And one of them was legitimate. I'm gonna say this on air. One of them, the interception return, we had 12 guys on the field. We told a guy to come off, and I don't think there was some communication, first game kind of stuff, and he didn't hear whether he was supposed to come off or not. He stayed on the field, and that gives us a lead going into halftime. But the second touchdown that was called back, they call us for an illegal formation. And it's not an illegal formation. I've watched it.
I have too.
Not going to go into more detail on that, but it is not an illegal formation. We ran that formation all night long, and we score a touchdown on that play, and they call it back. And when you lose a game by 2 points and you have 2 touchdowns called back, I mean those hurt. But offensively, I think we played pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely think you did, and I think it was a really interesting ball game. You had 57 total points at halftime. That is just crazy, especially considering I hear coaches say all the time, now you're the only team I cover, but I do listen to other coaches, and so I always hear coaches say defense this time of year is usually ahead of the offense. That was not the case Friday night for either team, and so that was quite interesting. You mentioned Trey Selfridge. He's the only player since I've been covering that has a catch, a pass, and ran. And so 3 completions on the night. He had 52 passing yards, 80 rushing yards, and 6 receiving yards. And if you add in his return yards, he had 206 all-purpose yards on the night. Trace Selfridge, wearing number 13, doesn't talk a lot, but has a ton to say with his play on the field. And so you mentioned the offensive line. I want to talk about that. Obviously, Coach Deaver is your offensive line coach. He does a great job. Your offensive line graded out at 81%. That is quite high. Davis Livingston and Kevin Seitler both graded out at 90%. Your center, Ethan Jeffcoat, graded out at 88%. There were a lot of pancakes, a lot of knockdowns, a lot of physicality. Carter Young got his first varsity start. He had 2 pancakes as a tight end. He played really well for you. Also as a Mike linebacker, he had a huge stop on a 4th down towards the end of the ball game. Read that play perfectly. But, Coach, your offensive line was incredible. You already mentioned some of these guys. DeAndre Caldwell, a career-high 152 yards. I saw some of his posts on social media. Yeah. In typical DeAndre-like fashion, he was excited.
That's right.
But I also saw some posts where he said, I want to pick my teammates up, and I don't want to lose again. Right. And so I think that's something that you want to feel because you're 15-8 in your time here, Coach, so winning has been a part of what you've done here. I definitely think, based on what we saw this past Thursday and based on I've always heard this, Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest adjustments and growth usually happens between game one and game 2.
That's right. And it usually does. You learn a little bit about your team, and that you learn a lot about your team in game 1, and then you have to make some adjustments going into the regular season. And that's kind of a coaching cliche. You're going to get better. You're going to see your most improvement from game 1 to game 2. But my mindset has always been we want to grow that much more between game 2 and game 3, and game 3 and game 4.
Every week. Well, Coach, A little bit of thoughts on your defense starting the game. I didn't expect the offensive fireworks that we saw. I know the kind of offense that you run, and so I figured, the more we could slow it down, the more that we can make them play at our pace. Man, they came out pump fake there on the other side. The cornerback bit on it, and you gotta, you said this last year, but it's still true. You're still young. You are still young. You got a few guys who are starting that have never played football before, or if they have, it's been a long time. They're great athletes. And then you have some guys who are getting their first varsity starts for the first time. Now, you've got some veterans on this team, but you also got some young guys, too. 482 total yards were allowed, 228 passing, 254 rushing. Just some thoughts on your defense and some ways you're going to try to make some improvements this week.
Started off the game slow defensively, obviously. They scored pretty much every time they touched the ball early on. But one thing that I thought we did as the game went on was we simplified. We simplified what we were trying to do. I think we went into the game with a certain plan. Coach Coleman is really good at making adjustments. He's one of the calmest people I've ever been around. Sometimes the opposite of me. I'm Mr. Intensity, and he is Mr. Calm. And, we kind of play off of each other really well. But
you're the offensive coordinator, too.
I'm the offensive coordinator. So, but, Brad does a great job of making adjustments. And we went into halftime and we said, let's just slow down. Let's go back to, we're going to run base defense, and we're going to make sure we know how to do that. Mm-hmm. And I thought in the second half, I think we gave up one score in the second half.
6 points, yeah.
We did much better. And Keenan's a good offense. And, you can look at teams in the landscape of high school football today, who somebody was last year means very little about who they are this year.
That's right.
With this wide open deal of transfer portals, and Keenan is a completely different looking football team than what they were last year. They several transfers came in, obviously the quarterback, and they're a good football team. I think they have a good shot to win that region. It's them and Newberry in that region.
Yeah. And they're going to give Newberry a run for their money, which is going to be a great ball game because Dante Howes Jr. was the JV quarterback behind Kenton Caldwell for the last 3 years.
Right.
Never played a varsity snap at Newberry, comes to Keenan, starts, throws for over 200 yards. Now, by the way, he's got two receivers. One of them's a 6th-ranked punt runner in the state, punt returner. One of them's got 8 offers. He got another Monday morning, and they got another one who's 6'3", who's going to have some by the end of the season. So they've got a lot of different players, but, Coach, I can't say enough about your halftime adjustments. I understand the first half, and I understand what fans are going to say, but I think you also have to look at how your defense played in that second half. You can go back and watch the ball game for yourself. DeAndre Caldwell, I don't want to say he's a new player. He was very good last year. But, man, I think it's safe to say he has a different mindset. He is playing hard. Both sides of the ball, 6 tackles. He led your team. Mr. Consistent, Jeremiah Waymeyers, 5 tackles. His little brother got his first varsity tackle. He had 2, I believe. Elijah Waymeyers, I'm assuming he'll be playing JV this week, but that's your call, of course. But
actually, we're keeping him up.
You're going to keep him up?
Yeah, him and Brian Davis are pretty much varsity guys unless something crazy happens. We plan on keeping them up.
Well, good. Well, question about Brian Davis, since you mentioned 2 carries last week. Is his role going to expand in the weeks moving forward?
His role will grow on both sides of the ball as the year goes on. We don't want to overload him too much as a freshman playing varsity football. He played a lot more on defense last week than he did on offense, but that's something that's going to change as the weeks go on.
6'2", 220 pounds. He's a freshman. He's only going to get bigger and stronger. Super big back. But you got a lot of young guys flying around. You played well. Your cornerback settled down there in the second half. Your secondary settled down.
Right.
There was some veteran leadership that was happening with Trace and some others. And so that was encouraging to see.
Right.
All right, we got bills to pay. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on the Tiger Den Coaches Show. In Swansea, South Carolina, hard work isn't just a value, it's a way of life. At DNC Trucking and Transport, we're more than just a trucking company, we're family. Named after our 2 boys, Dalen and Cooper, every load we haul carries our name, our pride, and our promise. Whether it's local or long haul, we deliver on time, every time, with integrity you can trust and service you can count on. DNC Trucking and Transport, driven by family, powered by commitment. Call Dennis Wilson today and let us move what matters most to you. And we're back, and I wrote on our notes, Coach. And by the way, fans, you can look at all of our broadcast notes on our website and, of course, our Facebook page and all that good stuff. I wrote on our notes, Coach, between me and you, don't panic yet. I think it's easy, whether it's college football, NFL, Pee Wee. When you lose the first game, for some reason, people act like the world's over. And not to say that non-conference games don't matter. They do. Real season doesn't start till region play. We've said that before. Of course, non-conference does matter. But anytime a team starts 0-1, some folks tend to freak out. While I'm not accusing Swansea of doing that, it's human nature. And so today, by the way, is Coach Bennett's 100th birthday, the day we're recording this. So I want to wish the winningest coach in Swansea history. Coach, if you're going to catch up to Coach Bennett, he was here 36 seasons. Yep. So, Coach, I hope you got that left in you. You've already been in the industry 20 years. So
we'll see.
I'll let you figure that one out. But as I shared with you Sunday night via text, and my only intention that was be encouraging, of course. Right. When the Tigers have started the season 0-1 since 1954, they have ended up going to win 43.3% of the time, having a winning season.
Right.
That's kind of a big deal. That's not always the case when you start out 0-1. In the 58 times that the Tigers have lost the season opener, in 2 of those times, they've gone on to win a state championship. It's 1974 and 1992. What's my point? Brady, are you saying we're going to go on and win a state championship? I'm not saying that necessarily, but what I'm saying is don't give up. Right. It's one ball game, and I would say that even if this week doesn't go our way, it's one ball game. Let's get ready for the next one. And so, Coach, I want to preview the Hornets. I've tried to do as much research on these guys as I can. A 2-8 football team last year. And so I wrote my weekly article that fans can read on the Swansea Tiger Sports Network website. Can the Hornets be humbled? I think that's the question this week. They went 2-8 last year. They won their first 2 games last year, go on and lose them all. Coach Hibbets, this is his second season. He's the 24th head coach in Aiken history. Historically, somewhat of a 500 program historically. They have gone 467 and 471 in 91 seasons, believe it or not, Coach. They've played the Tigers a total of 6 times, and they've gone 2-2-2. And so the very first football game that Aiken ever played was in 1935 on October the 5th. That was back when the football seasons began later. They played the Tigers. And between I'm going to call them the old heads, but between the old heads, nobody can come to a consensus on who won the game. So historically, it's a 0-0 tie in the record books, and they had another one of those the next year. And so anyway, so not a ton of history between these two teams. Obviously, Aiken have had some interesting people come from them. Leon Lott is the is the sheriff at Richland County District 1. Believe it or not, while he was at high school at Aiken, he was arrested for throwing eggs at vehicles on cars on I-20, and he's been the sheriff since 1997. So life has a way of doing that. And anyway, Aiken has never won a state championship, but they have made it the 4A state championship game in 1999 and 2000. Each time they have lost to Greenwood, which honestly, if you know the history of South Carolina high school football, makes total sense. Greenwood's been a powerhouse for years. In 1999, they lost to Greenwood 35-0, just before they had beat Airport the week before. Aiken also lost, I have to add this in, this is my alma mater, lost to Greer in the 3A state championship in 1989, 13-7 under Stuart Holcomb. The Greer Yellow Jackets got to listen to them the other night, Coach, and actually, since we didn't play, I got to spend time on a lot of other radio shows. A lot of my buddies were in lightning delays, and so they called me and said, we need somebody to fill time. And so, Coach, I guess they just wanted somebody to just talk.
Yeah, you got to talk to and kill time. Right?
So kill time. So did that. But anyway, talking about Swansea football across the state. So people in the upstate are hearing about your program, Coach. Right. Aiken's produced 2 NFL players. Jamal Reynolds, not a lot of people might know about him. He went on to play at Florida State. But a lot of our listeners are going to know about 1980 graduate Refrigerator Perry, right. Chicago Bears. He went to Aiken. A lot of people are going to know about that. Coach, we're talking about Aiken last year. They started 2-0, and then they went on to lose 8 games, and so they had a rough season last year with some different things. Last year they allowed 17.3 points per game, 119 rushing yards allowed, 76 passing yards, 195 yards, and I'm talking about offense for them. Turnovers was a big part of them last year. They had 15. And so last week they played against Lakeside Panthers. That is a Georgia team. Lakeside went 1-9 last year. Aiken's only won their season openers 40 times, including last week. They won 31-7. But if you watch the film, it was a little bit closer than that. Not necessarily a 31-7 ball game. But they do have a quarterback by the name of Tanner Paget, who is a third-year starter. This is going to be his 22nd varsity start coach. And so I understand he's 3-17 overall, but when you started that many games, you've seen some ball. And so not including last week's game where he threw for 240 yards. Last week he had the highest quarterback rating of his career with 141.9% QB rating. That's really impressive. Went 12 for 19, 2 touchdowns. These guys like to throw the ball, and they throw it. At least last week they threw it well. Last season, in his career, Tanner Paget, number 8, has 1,652 passing yards. He's 5'11", 170 pounds, 13 touchdowns, 16 interceptions in his career. In his career, he has a quarterback rating of 59.4. Last season, he only ran the ball 51 times, which isn't really a lot. He's not necessarily a running quarterback. He's a throwing quarterback, but they do like to use him in the red zone. And so the only common opponent we had last year with Aiken was when they lost to Brooklyn Casey by 20-19 on October 9th of last year. They've got a preseason all-state player in Grayson Kitchens. They call him Gray. He's got several college offers right now. He's 6 foot, 202 pounds. He, according to 247 Sports, is the 75th. He's in the top 75 of the overall players in South Carolina, and he is the 5th ranked outside linebacker / defensive back in the state. I've given you a ton of stats. Your overall thoughts on Aiken?
I've been, being from Aiken County or being a head coach in Aiken County for a long time, really familiar with Aiken. We never played them when I was at Wagner in a regular season game, but every year it seemed like in the Jamboree we were always matched up with Aiken. Mm-hmm. One thing I know about Aiken High School is Aiken High School always has really good athletes. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the best team they've had in a while. Coach Hibbets, I've known Coach Hibbets for a while. He's a good football coach. He does a good job of promoting his program. That's probably his biggest strength as a head coach. And he's really big on social media. And the kids over there are excited about their program. And they're a good football team. You went through a lot of guys, man. They've got a lot of guys. The quarterback's a pretty good player, and that outside linebacker is a good player. They got a good running back. Number 7, the receiver, Alan Cummings. He's a good football player. He's a big, strong kid that has really good hands. So they do a lot of things well. So this is, like I said, they're really excited over there, and they're moving in the right direction. But I really do think we match up well with them. I think we're going to play better on defense this week than we did last week. We're going to be a little simpler, and just if we can continue to get better, obviously better defensively, but then we've got to play at the same level or better offensively. And I think this is a good football team, but I think we match up well with them.
So what you're telling me is you feel confident in your team's chances to win this ball game. If you're looking at it, it is an important game to win, Coach. Right. All of them are important to win. But you got 5A Lexington. They lost their first week, but only by a point. They had a shootout. They've got an impressive young quarterback who's going to start getting a lot more attention. His name's Easton Crocker for the Wildcats. We know a few people over there. Brent Wilder, former head coach, offensive coordinator over there, and of course their coach there was at Saluda for several years. And so we'll talk about him next week. We don't want to give him too much airtime right now. But anyway, I think we match up well. You mentioned Darius Walker for Aiken, 5'11", 200 pounds. Their running back only had 15 carries last week, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alan Cummings, definitely have to be aware of him, 8 catches, 313 yards. So essentially, if you look on paper, they love to throw that ball, but when they get in that red zone, they are going to run it. And so that red zone defense is important. Do you know anything about special teams? Do they have a kicker? I know Keenan didn't have one.
They do have a kicker. He's a good field goal kicker. He kicks the ball off well too. He puts it in the end zone most of the time. So yeah, they're pretty good special teams wise too.
And your kicker, Oscar Espinoza, came back after an injury last season, season-ending injury, did a great job. 4 for 4 on extra points. That was quite impressive. And look for him to continue to do well for you, Coach.
Right. Yeah, Oscar's back, and then we also have another kid from the soccer team, Johan, who will be with us this week. Last week we were kind of working through some things with him, but he will be back. He will be with us this week too, and he's going to be pretty good too.
Well, Coach, I do want to talk about your offense. You are the offensive coordinator. When the Tigers scored 34 points like they did last week, when was the last time that happened? That was when in 2022, not to rub any salt, Coach, but in 2022 when the Tigers beat your War Eagles 34 to 20 or to 30 on September the 9th here. The first time the Tigers scored 30 points in a game was in 1933, or 34 points a game, and that's when they beat Orangeburg 34-0. The Tigers are 21-3 when they score 34 points in a game, but as you can see, there is that 12% where crazy things can happen in this game that we love called football. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Tiger Den Coaches Show with Coach Fox, brought to you courtesy of DNC Trucking. In Swansea, South Carolina, hard work isn't just a value, it's a way of life. At DNC Trucking and Transport, we're more than just a trucking company, we're family. Named after our two boys, Dalen and Cooper, every load we haul carries our name, our pride, and our promise. Whether it's local or long haul, we deliver on time, every time, with integrity you can trust and service you can count on. DNC Trucking and Transport, driven by family, powered by commitment. Call Dennis Wilson today and let us move what matters most to you. And we're back on the Tiger Den Coaches Show. Not going to be here too much longer. Going to try to wrap up. Coach, we've talked a lot about your football team. Just kind of want to follow up from something after break. You mentioned trying to make things a little more simple. Are we going to see, with a healthy Therese, are we going to see the football thrown a little bit more? And obviously rely on your football game with your hybrid wing team.
I think there's a good opportunity for us to throw the ball a little bit more. That's something we're going to be growing in as the year goes on, with Therese being a new quarterback and that sort of thing. So we're obviously going to always lean on the run. Mm-hmm. But my philosophy's always been, you run the ball to open up the pass a little bit. So with him going down last week, it was a little harder to throw the ball. And
Sure.
Trace came in and did a good job.
He did a good job.
One of the things that we didn't mention earlier is Therese is also our punter.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, we don't think about a backup punter very often.
No.
So we didn't practice a backup punter, going into the game last week, which is on us. But I looked at DeAndre during the game, and I was like, "Can you punt?" And he said, "No." So I said, "Trace, you're going to punt." And he just kind of looked at me.
And he ends up, punt. He did well.
He punted it twice, and he averaged about what Therese does. He's got to get it off faster.
He averaged about 35 yards. One of his punts made it in the 20.
That's right. He got one inside the 20, so he got in the stat book, man.
Well, and coaches use that word culture all the time. I want to talk about that. Until adversity hits,
right,
you really don't know what you got.
That's right.
And I do want to talk about that. You won the second half,
right,
13-6. A lot of adversity, a lot of cramping, a lot of guys went out that we did not expect, and all kind of different things. You had young guys playing who probably, when they suited up, did not think they'd be getting in. They did.
Right.
Dalen Wilson came in at linebacker. Cooper came in at running back a little bit there. So you had a lot of different guys doing a lot of different things. That does speak to culture and how you handle adversity.
Right.
And I think you did that well. I know you didn't get the end result, and there are no moral victories. But still, you got to be proud of your football team and how they fought back and did not give up.
Right. Well, one of the things we're trying to do is we're always trying to work towards the future. You said a little while ago, at the end of the day, now we have a different playoff system now. We've got the RPI formula, and every game really does matter, but the region matters more. Mm-hmm. And I thought when I first got, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, when I first got here, the program was down, mm-hmm. and I thought that we needed some success.
Yep.
And so that's the way we scheduled. We scheduled to try to have some success.
Sure.
I think we're past that now. I think
Yep.
we're in a different place, and I think we needed to be challenged early on. And that's what this schedule is. Like, we opened up with Keenan, who I knew was going to be pretty good. And then we're playing Aiken this week, who's a 4A team. And we're playing Lexington next week, who's a 5A team. I want us to meet adversity now.
Yep.
I want us to be tested now. I want to know if we're going to be able to stand up against something that is tough now and not wait until we get to the 7th or 8th game of the season and then learn that, when it's hard, we might shut down a little bit. We need to learn how to fight through this stuff now so that when we get to the Camdens and the Gilberts and the Airports and the BCs and the Lower Richlands, that we know we can fight back.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that 100%, Coach, and I appreciate you saying that for the fans because they might not understand what you're trying to build. And so we talked a little bit about Aiken and different things that they got going on, and you had a good first week. Look for more this week. Several interesting things, kind of storylines to look at. The 92nd season of Hornets football. They have started 1-0 43% of the time. They won a good ball game last week. I think Tanner Padgett is somebody we definitely have to look out for. Obviously, Gray Kitchens as well. And so I just can't wait to see what your team's going to do. And Swansea, by the way, ranks 38th among all South Carolina high schools in the most games won in program history. I don't know if you knew this stat. Even with last week's loss, Coach, you are still 40 games above 500 in your career. Right. You are in the top 6.1% of all coaches in the history of high school football when it comes to that statistic. So I know you didn't know that, but I figured I'd pull that one up for you and make you feel good this week. I do want to talk about top 10. Your team is ranked 21 according to Max Preps in 3A football. That's about right, 21, about right where we are right now, and 20 last week, so I'm glad the system hasn't figured out that Keenan is as good as they are yet.
Right.
And so Aiken, even after a win, they're still number 27. There's 44 schools in 4A. There's 34 in 3A. Right. Did want to ask you this about the playoffs. It changes, of course, with realignment. How many teams from our region get to go to the playoffs?
The only two that are guaranteed are the winner and second place.
Okay.
And then if you don't win or you finish second or you don't finish second place, then every other team in 3A goes, and in 3A lower state will go into the RPI basket.
Okay.
And then the teams, and there's a lot of things that go into that. It's your record, your opponent's record, and your opponent's record. Oh. So there's a lot of things that'll fit into that formula. So every game matters. Every game matters. And the way that you guarantee you make the playoffs is obviously you win the region or you finish second. But after that, then you've got to do your best in everything. So
up to then, it's up to the powers that be.
Right.
With the RPI. As far as the top 10 for 4A, it's about the same it normally is. South Point, number 1. Irmo still in the top 10 after losing surprisingly to Rock Hill last week. Hilton Head Island, number 3. Gaffney, number 4. They beat Spartanburg. That was interesting. South Florence, number 5 after losing to Hilton Head. Number 6, AC Flora. Teohana, 7. Westside, 8. Indian Land, 9. 10 is Greenwood for 3A football. Oceanside, number 1. Camden, number 2 after winning a convincing game. 35-13 against Dillon. That was a ball game. And by the way, Coach, games didn't finish up until this past Monday. Columbia played, and Eau Claire. Loris is number 4, BHB number 5. Those are all pretty normal. Hartsville's number 3, Daniel number 6, Powdersville number 7, Crestwood number 8, Gilbert, who's in our region, number 9, Emerald creeped in at number 10. Gilbert went up to Nation Ford, beat a Jake Bentley coach team, 21-14, Coach. No disrespect to the Indians. That one surprised me. I didn't really expect them to do that, but they did, and they did so in convincing fashion. Okay, Coach, we're going to have fun before we get you out of here. Before we do that, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back on the Tiger Den Coaches Show. In Swansea, South Carolina, hard work isn't just a value, it's a way of life. At DNC Trucking and Transport, we're more than just a trucking company, we're family. Named after our 2 boys, Dalen and Cooper, every load we haul carries our name, our pride, and our promise. Whether it's local or long haul, we deliver on time, every time, with integrity you can trust and service you can count on. DNC Trucking and Transport, driven by family, powered by commitment. Call Dennis Wilson today and let us move what matters most to you. You're listening to the Tiger Den Coaches Show, presented to you by DNC Trucking. Coach, thank you for your time. It's very valuable. And just for fun, where are you in U.S. history so far? I'm sure you're in the beginning.
We're in the middle of the American Revolution.
Okay.
We've already done the build up to the Revolution. We're kind of in the middle of the war. We talked about Valley Forge today.
Okay, talked about Valley Forge. Do you get to talk about how South Carolina is where the Revolution is won? Do you ever get to talk about that?
We can mention it, but that's more of an 8th grade thing. They take South Carolina history in 8th grade, and they're supposed to talk about Kings Mountain and Camden and in cow pens and everything else. But
all right,
we mention them. I make sure we fit them in.
All right. That's one thing I'm looking forward most to about this season, Coach. This is going to reveal how much of a nerd I really am. When we travel to Camden this year. Camden has said they're going to let us broadcast the game up there. And so I'm planning to make it a day trip, Coach. I'm going to go to the battlefield, get me something good to eat, and then watch your ball club hopefully get a win that night, region win at Camden. All right, we're going to have some fun. Matt and I in the pregame show do a college football pick-em. We're going to add you into this just to have some fun. And I'll just have to go back and listen to it. I don't think I have a pen. I got a pencil, and so that I can remember yours. Week 0, we only pick 4 matchups just because we're pressed for time on the pregame show. Because, as you know, on the pregame show, Coach, I'm trying to balance our pregame show, and then I'm trying to do the pregame announcements. We have somebody doing PA during the game, but I'm still on the hook for the pregame and the halftime and all that good stuff. And so I will say, don't want to brag on myself too much, but last Friday we had the Hall of Fame, which can be a time-consuming thing if you're not careful. And Coach Devers, in the middle of the first half, it was that afternoon, he texted me, he said, "Is there any way you can get us through in 15 minutes?" I said, "I got you. Got you through in 9. Got you through in 9, so six minutes to spare." North Carolina at Texas Christian this coming week. Who you got, the Horned Frogs or the Tar Heels?
I'm going to take TCU. Belichick and North Carolina are kind of a mess right now.
Yeah, and have been since he got there.
I like Belichick.
Yeah, I do too. So most people aren't going to recognize this logo. San Jose State out of California. Not traveling too far, University of Southern Cal, the other USC. Who you got, Coach? The Trojans or or San Jose State?
There's your answer right there. We don't even know what their mascot is. So.
Exactly.
USC's probably got that one.
Pretty sure it's a Spartan.
I think so.
But anyway, if we have any San Jose State fans, I'm so sorry. Wolfpack or the Cavaliers at ACC matchup. Tony Elliott at Virginia. He's done an incredible job there, but NC State's always a little pesky. Who you got?
I'm going to say Virginia gets that one. I saw something on Twitter or X or whatever you call it now.
Yeah.
I think they were going through a video. I think every offensive lineman at Virginia is like 30 years old or something. They're all like 6th and 7th year seniors. That makes a difference.
Well, and Coach, we're having an epidemic, and you said something to me weeks ago that has stuck with me. What happens in college trickles down to high school eventually. I just, the SEC released a statement this week, and I agree with it, but this whole thing of you can go to the NFL, and if that doesn't work out, it's happened in college basketball, but now it's happening in college football. It was a mess in college basketball. I think that's kind of weird. If you go to the NFL, that doesn't work out, okay, well, I'll just go back to college. What happened to pride? What happened to being proud of your work and who you are?
What happened to common sense?
Yeah, what happened to common sense? Yeah.
Once you're in the NFL, you don't get to play college anymore.
Well, I mean, if you're in an NFL training camp and then you come back, I mean, come on.
You're right.
I don't really understand that, but anyway, all right, last one, pretty easy. You have sided with me the whole way. Matt has not sided with us. He took the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack. Little ACC bias there for him. He roots for that orange team. But Jacksonville State, Gamecocks, North Dakota State. I visited Jacksonville State last year. Good program, but not anywhere near the Bison.
Nah, North Dakota State wins that one easily.
So, Coach, we will see. You and I are either going to win together or lose together on this week's College Football Pick-Up presented to you by DNC Trucking. Coach, anything you want to say to the fans before we log off for this week's edition of the Tiger Den Coaches Show?
Just, guys, we always appreciate y'all's support, and just keep supporting us, and just go Tigers.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time, and we're going to end today's broadcast with our disclaimer, which is very important, and we look to see you this coming Friday night. We will be live at 6:50 p.m., and we can't wait to be here and to be able to have the pregame show. But make sure you're waiting on us for the pregame show. We might get it started a little early, hopefully, if the technical advancements are with us. And it sounds like rain on the field house that I just heard, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's the air conditioning. But anyway, we're going to get you out on the Tigers Den Coaches Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Coach Fox, we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Brady.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Swansea Tiger Sports Network, an independent organization and is not an official production of Swansea High School or Lexington County District 4.